Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Well, hello, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself for Oxchair on the show this evening. We welcome back to Albert after his technical difficulties. AK and young Robert. Evening, Albert.
Evening, guys. How are you all doing?
Good, mate. How's yourself?
Smashing, mate. Technical difficulties overcome, and I'm on the road again. I'm up and running.
Good man. Evening, AK.
Good evening, Oxchair, Albert, Rob, the techie team, and everybody that's listening.
Here, mate. Evening, Robert.
Evening, Ox. Evening, guys. Good to be on yourselves. Looking forward to a good show tonight. Plenty of discussion still to come from Sunday.
Yeah, I just want to follow on for the quick chat we had there before the show. That really surprised me, Albert, that your priority was the scoring goals. It was to keep the back doors closed, mate. Yeah, that surprised me. I thought you'd have been wanting to go positive, mate.
I'm always protecting my back door. Don't you start that nonsense. Top priority, protect your back door.
Right, so you want to keep it tight at the back, right? I get it, mate. I get it. Gives you a platform to go forward, yeah. AK, we've not heard from you about the match on Sunday, mate. Quickly, your thoughts?
Oh, delighted with the amount of goals that were scored. Delighted with the win, and we answered a lot of questions for rain support and for people that was looking for us to drop points as well. So, aye, it's been a good, post match or pre match up to the split, and now we get to sit back, relax, and see what's unfolding and just really go for it now. The last 5 games of the season.
Aye. Albert, we've not heard from you neither. Yeah.
Aye, it was great, mate. Good game for the neutrals to watch. Great second half for us to watch. Bad first half, but a great second half. It was aye, okay, I could take that at the end of the season, mate. Making a game, I have to tell you. I'm no big in these 1-0s and you sit try to hold out. I'd rather just go for it. Just go for it. And let the cards fall as they may. It's more exciting. You seen that in Sunday there. It was a case of 2-0 down. Right, get the shackles off. Let's get after this game. Let's go for it. And that's exactly what they did. You've got to give them 10 out of 10 for what they did. Also the weather. I mean, the weather was horrendous. It didn't look that bad on the telly, but by all accounts, it was absolutely horrendous. So you've got to give them that, and the pitch as well. Doesn't suit us? The pitch doesn't suit anybody. Let's be honest about it. But aye, they end up thoroughly enjoyable. Good night's sleep that night, I'll tell you that.
Aye. Listen, it was definitely an entertaining game, and if you've not got a dug in the fight, there's no nerves at all. But we had a dug in the fight, Robert, so we took a few in the chin, picked ourselves up, and liked the fight with them. Let's be honest, yeah.
Aye, without doubt, mate, we did. Obviously, a lot more attacking threat and a lot more clinical in the second half, obviously scoring the 5 goals. But as you said, we came out with a fight the second half, and I think I touched on it on Sunday, and I'll say it again. I think the timing of the first goal for us was crucial just before the break. I think even Raskin said it after the game. That was a turning point for them that gave them the belief they could get back into it. They probably felt they could get back into it, even at 2-0, but it's a totally different conversation you're having in the dressing room at half time. When you've got that goal, the momentum slightly shifts towards you. And then obviously the big start we get at the second half scoring to equalise makes it even better, and you go from there.
Yes. That's the Raskin you like to see, Albert. I know you've got your problems with him. The Raskin in the second half, mate. Winning the ball, driving forward, making passes, and influencing the game, mate.
I've always said that, mate. He's a great player and doing what he's good at. What he's trying to do between the centre halves and that playmaker, that's not his game, mate. And he's rotten at it. But damn what he done on Sunday, the second half especially, that's his game, mate. That's when you can see he's an international player. And his range of passion, he actually got he set up a chance for Miovski with a crossbar. This is what you're looking for, mate. This is the guy you're wanting to see, but what have they been seeing it? Well, you see, he's not a bad player. I'm not trying to make it he's a bad player and he's playing the other position, but he's not as good, put it that way. He's definitely not as good. And I know you're getting man of the match. I wouldn't have gave the man of the match to him. You know, I mean, I wouldn't have gave it to anybody. I'd have gave it to the team. I mean, that was a team performance, man. To know at the end of the season, it's like we're all together here. We win together, and if we lose together. It's a case of name man of the matches. We're all in it together here. This is going to be team performances. To know at the end of the season to get this job done, and they're more than capable of doing it.
Aye, well, I've shown that. I slightly disagree with you. I thought Moraskin, but when I actually look back, mate, he played the ball through for. He was involved in the first goal. He played the ball through to Gisama, when he got in to get his equaliser. It was his cross, his goal for the third goal, and his cross that I hadn't realised to see it back for Miovski's goal. I think he was a justified man of the match, if I'm honest. AK.
I certainly the stats pointed towards that the contribution that Raskin made was completely effective towards the result. So, but it wasn't just him. As Albert touched on there was a lot of tactical moves. You know, bringing off Moore, who wasn't having a good influence, bringing on Miovski, switching Gisama to the left. You know, all the factors contributed, and we just went, you know, stuff it, just go for this because we need the win. As Southside said last night, which we obviously we're not aware of watching the TV, is the weather conditions, the park and how much an influence that has on it. But you need to, it's one of the games, it's character questioning, isn't it? You need to roll up the sleeves and go on, but no matter what the surface you're playing on, but obviously it does have an effect on the outcome of the game. We didn't have the win the first half, Falkirk did, but they made the best of the two mistakes for us. I think it was self-destruct, but they punished us and that put us on the back foot. But thereafter, for 35, 40 minutes into the game, we completely dominated the game and deserved to score 6 at least and sent everybody home happy, Ox.
Aye. 6 goals, we're picking goals out. We're nuts, aren't we? Robert, now you've had time to reflect, mate.
Aye, obviously on reflection, mate. I know we've touched on it again last night. The story was saying it was a game of two halves. But looking back at it, mate, it did definitely strike as a game of two halves. But when you look at the stats between the first half and the second half, everything in the second half for us was down apart from the shots and the goals, of course. But what was crucial was what we'd done with the ball when we were in possession, the areas we got into, and we were clinical. We had 8 shots in the second half, 6 on target, and we scored them all. So there shows you that we are clinical. Again, AK says it's character questioning. We've questioned at times where goals are going to come from. We've got players contributing now. He touched on Raskin. His goal and assist at the weekend, that's 13 goal contributions he's done this season. And we've spoke in great detail and at length about midfielders contributing. So he's certainly not been hiding this season. He's certainly been coming to the floor. And if he starts to chip in between now and the end of the season over these next 5 games with more goals and more assists, then it's what you ask for. You ask for a bare minimum, probably about 10 between goals and assists from a midfield point of view, especially the position he plays. But I'm with Albert. I like to see him a bit more attacking. I think that gave him that freedom at the weekend when we went to the 2 strikers.
I can't understand why the centre-halves have to give the ball to the midfielder a fit away from them all, but it's another frustration of mine, modern football. I don't get it. You push them up, that body up in the midfield, and you give the guys more options, you know, or you just cut them out and go long, because the guy next on in a fit away for you, he's going to do the same thing, isn't he? Albert?
Sorry, mate, I was on mute there down the bridge.
It was a technical difficulty.
I know. I turned the on button on. I'm going to say, I know it's all about moving opposition players, the wee passes and all this nonsense, waiting for the gaps and things like that. But everybody knows it. And I'm not saying very rarely it works, but it's no effective all the time, and it's boring. And let's be honest, it's just boring. It's just to touch on our strikers, by the way. The 4 goals our strikers scored on Sunday, they were all between the sticks. That's what I like to see. Your strikers in the right places to tap the ball in. All right, a couple of only tap-ins, but you know what I'm saying. But the four goals they scored was between the sticks, and you're saying that's the way it should be. You know, that's more like it. And they're 6 good goals. Let's be honest about it. The 2 goals that they scored. I mean, the first one was just a barge. They just barged through us, mate. They just totally barged through us. We couldn't clear the ball. Hitting it after them twice, they get the break of the ball, and then the guy's off. He's off and running. And that Tab should have used the experience. That boy. See that first ball come down his wing for the kick-off. He should have flattened that boy. He really should have. He needs to learn. He's a wee bit of a softie, Tab. He's got to use the experience. He knows that boy's going to run away from him. He knows boy's going to run away from his players, not just Tab. So you got to slow him up a bit. Use your experience and slow him up a bit. But we didn't. He doesn't. He's too nice a guy. He lets the guy play his football and then ends up conceding a penalty. No to him, but the boy scored it. But the second goal was just a combination of what we've been doing in the past when we lose bad goals. Is we've got a chance to clear it umpteen times. We've a chance to get rid of it. We keep mincing about with it. And eventually, bang. Same as the Aberdeen goal. Mincing about, bang, you lose a goal. There's no need for it. Absolutely no need for it whatsoever. But apart from the 2 goals, they get the break of the first one. They definitely got the breaks in the first one. The second one was just tons of time to clear it, get a deflection. That boy could hit that shot another 100 times and never score, mate. I'm telling you.
Oh, it's perfect, mate.
He just got it sweet.
It's perfect.
Oh, it was a perfect goal. It was a grand goal for him. He could try it another 100 times and never put that ball in as close to that post like that again. A bouncing ball, no.
Was a big positive, AK, how we responded, mate, you know, and then the goal, and we started pushing just before we got the goal without doing a lot, moments, you know, and then when they came out in the second half, the whole team, we all bear that, the whole team, led by Raskin, looked as if they had a bit between their teeth, you know, all of them, you know, even guys that maybe didn't influence the game as much, you could see a step up. I don't know if I'm going to use the right word here, attitude, effort, whatever you want to describe it, but you could see it. And I don't know if that's frustrating that it wasn't there the first half, or pleasing that they responded, mate.
A bit of both, I would say, Ox. It was frustrating, and you get angry when you're watching, you realise the opportunity. Because both Celtic and Hearts had won on the Saturday, the pressure was on us, the spotlight was on us, but that's up to us to deal with that. We've got that spotlight on us all the time with our own support, because we're expecting to win these sort of games, and so we should, with the financial muscle that we've got compared to these other teams. And that's no a criticism to Falker, that they're punching above their weight. And they're playing some good football, but we've got to respect what's in front of us. But I just thought we came out there with a lackadaisical attitude, and we were slow, we weren't coherent at all. And I think Falkirk sensed it. He said these are treating us with disrespect, and we'll punish us, and so they did. So for us to go 2-0 again, it's a wake-up call. We've had it already a couple of times this season. Livingston, I can remember just offhand, and we're like, oh, no again, So credit to the players, and credit to a bit of leadership on the part, and for the players having a wee bit of responsibility. Southside heard them last night saying that Danny Rowe was going, apathetic in the side of the part, and so we all watching it and at the stadium, but the players have got to start better. They can't start that lethargic way, but the response that we had once we scored that first goal just before half-time, what a key moment that was for the outcome of the entire game, and that's credit to the players then.
If we're honest, Rob, now you've the time again to reflect, and the centre half's got the ball too much, mate.
I think it's just the way that we're trying to play the game. Danny Rose obviously said he's not got a style or a philosophy. He just wants to win games, but he obviously sees that the two centre backs, Giga, Fernandes more so, and even at times Suter, when he's been playing, they're all comfortable with the ball at their feet. Fernandes sometimes can be too comfortable for your liking. He gives us that wee kind of heart palpitation. Suter can drive forward with the ball. He'll lose it 8 out of 10 times maybe, but he's got that endeavour to get forward. I just think it's a tactical approach that Danny Rose highlights, that when we carry a ball forward with a defender, you're hoping that the team attack presses you, leaves gaps in behind, and we try and get in with the pace we've got and the quality we've got in the final third. I don't think it's something that's going to change. We're not a long ball team. I think we'd much rather see the ball on the deck, moving it as well. But on Sunday in particular, the guys have mentioned it, the wind certainly played a factor. The first half, any long ball we were doing, the ball was going into the wind, so it's going to either hold up or come back towards you. So I just think it's a tactical way, one of our strengths that we've got to try and exploit other teams, mate. I don't think it's going to be anything that changes over this season anyway.
Interesting. Yeah. Because I think that's where the trouble comes from. Sometimes we're playing with the ball in wrong areas. We're going to get teams sometimes turning, and we're going to just sometimes accept we're going to push our whole team up the park. But
it's especially that park. Taking that individual game, I know you're talking about all season that we play about in the wrong areas of too much football at times, which is right. I think that as well. But the day that park, you need to take into consideration that park. That's what annoys me. You look at the weather, you look at the park, you go, there's no time to mince about with this ball. We daft passes that they can nick in and get the ball off you and they're right through. So you're looking at it and saying, "Oh, come on!" You don't know if that's that's the way you have to play. That's the way you've been instructed to play. But as Rogue's saying, he's not telling them to play that way. He's just saying to them, play football. You've got a game of football to play. And football's about passing, shooting, and scoring, and things like crossing and things like that. You know how to play football, so just go on with it. You basically get them into a sort of shape, roughly speaking, that you can play. I think somebody was saying that, I've not heard their asking interview with whoever it was. I think it was that Josh Barry he gave it to, but he's saying there's a system, but we're allowed a freedom within the system. You can express yourself within the system. So I like that idea, and it's flexible, and you can change the system. I like all that idea because as it proved in Saturday, but Robert's right. The big factor changing as well, apart from the way our attitude and everything was excellent. The weather had a big part of it. It really did. It was monsoon stuff. No, I mean, it really was. So the weather did have a part. I thought do you know, after we get the goal, which the weather played a part in, the weather held the ball in the park. If it wasn't for the wind, that ball would have went out, but it didn't go out. It got held in with the wind. So after we get that goal, I don't know about you, but you just felt, we're up for this. We are definitely up for this now. We've turned all the systems on now. And then they come out in the second half and just blew them away. Totally and utterly blew them away. Don't get me wrong, they still had chances, but we definitely blew them away. We looked like, in fact, I think it's the first game this season. I can confidently say every time we went up the park, I felt that we could score. I've not felt that way for a long time. For years probably. But you felt it in Sunday there in that second half. Every time we went up that park, you're going, "Oh, can score here." But the weather did play a huge part, mate. You can't say it didn't.
The wind in the pitch, mate. The wind in the pitch, mate. It's not conducive to a good game of football.
No.
82 factors. But when I say a good game of football, I mean a classic game of football, whereas that contrives to make it hard to defend. Because you can see it even as the game went on. The Falkirk guys who play on it every week, train on it every day, they were struggling to turn as well. For me, they've not got a place in the top flight. You maybe need them in certain countries because of the weather, but we don't.
I always thought Falkirk was actually one of the better ones, Ox, to be honest with you. But after watching that on Sunday there, I think they're all as bad as each other. Kilmarnock and Livingston as well, and that's Livingston replacing theirs. You could see it. I think Billy touched on it. There was I think there was a kick out for the Falkirk keeper, or a long ball or that for the defending. You could see it skipping. It was meant to skip through, but the ball actually just in the second bounce went vertical rather than and that's down to the pitch. It couldn't be anything else. So trying to judge that is so difficult, that we'll not appreciate. But it's certainly a factor in the outcome of the game. But I was I was laughing to myself there with Albert saying about that ball for their first goal. The wind kept the ball in. So basically, you're saying that Albert, that the God is a proddy. He kept the ball in for us.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. I've known that all my life.
Well done, God.
Aye, look, I think we're all in agreement with the pitch. Great performance. Another question for you, Rob. I know you're a studier of all things social media, and you're on there regular. Would that be fair?
That's fair to say, aye.
How do we turn people's frown upside down, mate, and come with us and enjoy this? Hopefully takes us to the title, but some people, they're just, I don't know, I don't mean they want us to feel, because I don't believe that's true. I think that they can't appreciate where we've been and where we are. Yeah, and I'm being polite there, because look, we were flat, we were dead, we didn't think there'd be any response this season. I remember talking to Falk, I think it was maybe during the international break in October, and we're thinking, how are we going to get through this season on Rangers Radio when the fixtures become just dead rubber so early? How wrong were we, mate?
Oh, we've been very wrong, mate. A lot of our supporters were still keeping the belief that we could get the right guy in, and that's turned out to be Danny Rule. I know he had his question marks. A lot of people weren't sure about him, never heard a lot about him before. But he's done a tremendous job, and I don't think he's really getting the credit he deserves from some of the support, nor the media as well. As you said, where he's came from, the minute he walked in the door, nothing was going our way. There was disjointment between the players, the support. And he's galvanised us. And I think for some supporters still, they'll not really get on board as much, if that's the right word, until we've got that title in our hands, mate, if I'm being brutally honest with you. I think you've seen the reaction at half-time. A lot of forums for our own support were saying, that's it was gone, bottle merchants were getting labelled again and things like that. And it's not a great thing to see, but as I said on Sunday, the football game's a 90-plus minute game. There's still 5 games to go after Sunday. Nobody expected Hearts to drop points at Livingston, drop points at Kilmarnock. So there's still twists and turns in these 5 games. But what I will say is, we are, as a support, asking these players to win these 5 cup finals, as it's been labelled by the manager, to get their all, get their best, and we'll see where it takes us, and we get the title. So if we're asking for that, then surely the players and Danny Rule and the management and the coaching staff, everybody deserves the 100% backing from the support for the full 90 plus for the full 5 games, because it works both ways. We're asking them to go and do something, well, all come together and we'll cheer them on to victory, because when it is going against us, when it's not going like it was on Sunday at 2-0 down, the best way you can do is get behind them, support them, and that will give them a lift. Not the kind of flatness that we can bring at times.
AK.
Oh, well said, Rob. Listen, just to reiterate a lot of what Rob said there. Obviously, I'm well on social media as well, Ox, as you know. And I gander at some sites there at half time, and I just couldn't believe the reaction of some of the Rangers support calling Danny Rule a clown. Don't need a project manager. These players are bottle merchants. They don't have it in them. This and that. I mean, for goodness sake, we're going for a league title here, and we're gearing up on them after they've got us so far. We've got a chance here. I mean, for the 25 league games that he's come in for, he's got a remarkable win rate of 80%. You know, we're plus 36 in goals aggregate, and that's gave us an extra point, and that could provide been vital towards the end of the season. If it comes to it, at least we've got that cushion. We're scoring goals for fun. Lately, 14 goals in the last 3 games. You know, so just let's believe, keep believing that the banner that the UB put up again. And at the weekend there, Ox, just in a wee comparison, you've got Arsenal down there, and their supporters are getting edgy, you know, and that edginess filters onto the park. And there's a lot of class players that's in that Arsenal team now, but they're getting to the line. The edginess is coming across onto the park, and there Bournemouth go and beat them. We don't need that. We need to stay with our team. We done that when Hearts came to Ibrox earlier in the season. You know, we had to beat them. We did. We've won big games against Celtic too when we needed to. All right, the cup hasn't went to plan, but we're right in this league title, and that's the one that we all want. So just let's keep believing. Let's stay with the team and get them over the line. Every game, full 90, full voice, full house. That's what the club's asking for. So I think that's the least that we can give them.
Oh, Ben, I just want people to embrace it, mate. People are entitled to their opinion about how the game's gone, how they feel the tactics on the right, who's not playing well, selection issues. You'll never stop that. But let's try and embrace this, particularly these next few weeks, because it could be special starting on a week on Sunday.
It's already special as far as I'm concerned, mate. What he's actually done is remarkable. We'll put it this way. Anybody that's saying he's a clown and all that, they don't know anything about football. That's for sure. Because see if Hearts and that mob across the city gave us the start that we have gave them, this league would be done by now. But we'd done now. We'd have won this by now. We'd done all over if we had the start that we gave them. Because neither they two would have come back for where we were. None of them. So we gave them 13 points, 15 points to start, 9 points for the other one. And then we'll come back. We've overtook one and the other one's 1 point ahead of us with 5 games to go. It's remarkable, mate. For a season that was written off, some people were writing it off after about 3 or 4 games. Some people were writing it off before even the ball was kicked. No, I mean, we're on the internet. Oh, this is that. We've all got a share of that to take, mate, because we wrote a lot of these players off as well. Wasn't it just, well, we're right, everybody else is wrong. We're all wrong. We wrote Thelwell off. Some of these signings are good, mate. You've got to give the guys due. Some of them are rotten.
Well, they're worth more money than they were when they came in the door. Let's be honest.
Aye, absolutely, mate. So we've got to eat some humble pie ourselves. No, I mean it's not just but we're right, no, you're wrong, or they're right and we're wrong. It's a case of you've got your opinion, you see what you see, but it's the facts of the facts. We are where we are. The point accumulation's there, the goals difference is there, and everybody's looking at us now. We're the form team. If you ask the neutrals, most of the neutrals will say, you ask them who's going to win the league between the 3 of them, Rangers. That's what you hear, Rangers. That's no so you're overconfident and that's it. All we need to do is turn up and win the league. You don't. You'll have to fight for this league, and it'll probably be the hardest 5 games some of these players are ever going to play in their careers. But that's great. This is what competition looks like. I keep banging on about it. You need competition. This is what it looks like. It's no easy. And I say it before, when Rangers win a league, Rangers truly win a league. And it's never more true than this season if we actually manage to get this out of the line. Because as far as I'm concerned, when they win a league, that mob across the city, there's nothing special about it, mate. It's practically haunted them anyway. They've got all sorts of things going for them all the time. Rangers didn't have anything going for them this time. They're practically building a full team. They had a new CEO, they had a new sporting director, they had a new manager coming in. We don't all 8 players. Nobody's settled. Nobody's their feet under the table at Ibrox. They're just all new to it. All young boys as well. You're looking at the age group we brought in. All young boys, teenagers and everything. And we're expecting these players to turn up. And then we're putting pressure on them. We can do with comments like, oh, they need to know who they're playing for. They know what Rangers are all about. They know the traditions. They know this, that, and the next thing. You're sitting going, you don't need that pressure. You don't need to keep heating it on them. They know they're at a big club. They don't need to keep putting more pressure on them. The pressure's there with idiotic officials to start with. You've got to overcome that, which is no easy. And then you've got to go overcome every single game, because the club, because of who we are. Every single game's a cup final, so they've got to get used to that. And they're all young boys. And I don't know about yous, but I think they're making a decent fist there. They had a shaky start, that's fair enough, but they've overcome it. So I think he's done a remarkable. Right now, I think he's done a remarkable job, mate.
Struggle to put up an argument against that, mate. Yeah, of course. In hindsight, you know, there's been certain games where you get things slightly wrong. You know, when the game's done. You know?
Thank God, mate. It'd be boring if we get in and right.
Aye, well, there is that, mate. There's that. You know, so more power to his elbow, and hopefully he can. I think he just strikes me. He's got a guy. He knows what he's about. Knows what's required. Doesn't suffer fools gladly. He keeps his counsel, and he doesn't give too much away, mate. So there's a lot of ingredients in that cake that I like in the Football Manager AK. Whether how successful he's going to be is up for debate, but I'm only critiquing what we've seen up to now, mate.
Well, again, he's a young manager. He's only 36, Ox. He didn't have a professional football career as well. You know, like Steven Gerrard, for example, world-class football player. He's got that pedigree where he comes into a club with us and he doesn't faze him. Nothing fazes him. He's got that respect factor off the players. Danny Rowe doesn't he? He's a kind of new guy in the team, and he's got to earn the respect off the players, off of the players that were on the deck with their own conference because of how bad they'd started at a massive club and the boos ringing out at Ibrox after that Hearts defeat. The last time we were at Falkirk, they were chasing the manager out the door. What these sorts of things, you know? Exactly. But he's got all these, ingredients, factors to bring into play. He's no fearful of the challenge. I mean, Steven Gerrard admitted that in his interview with Ali McCoist, that he's seen what was there, and he was basically saying, I couldn't do nothing with that squad to get us to where we want to be. No, this season, he needed his own recruitment. He needed everything basically on a plate for him. Well, Danny Rowe took up the challenge just the same as Clement did when he took after Michael Beale, but he didn't get backed. Well, Andrew Kavanagh has come in and backed him just with 4 players. They 4 players have made a massive impact. We're missing Nadiri. I think Scove Olsen, it's quite plain to see that he's not going to make the impact that we were hoping to. But Chukwani and Romans, definite quality there. So he's basically working with another guy's set of players in a new environment, a new league, new to the official dome up here as well, with the amount of disallowed goals that we've had, and that was contributed to points dropped, the pressure, the expectation, everything that comes with the scrutiny of being Rangers manager. He's took it in his stride because of his background in Germany with Leipzig, Bayern Munich, German national team. That's what I like about the appointment of Danny Rowe in the first place, Ox. We've thought outside the box and went with him rather than risk they were talking Ancelotti Jr. That would have been a huge risk. Kevin Muscat, huge risk. So I think Danny Rowe was he was less of a risk, shall we say. But he's proved Kavanagh and whoever picked him right so far.
Listen, mate, it didn't float my boat if you're looking for a star name, but you can't see no floating my boat now. Anyway, if it's all right with you, 3 upstanding gentlemen, well, 2 in AK, should we get the phone lines opened?
Absolutely.
Get them in, get the troops in.
Yeah, we don't want any cowboys on here, AK, do we?
2 cowboys
Yep.
now. None of your noises. 2 cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the first time Albert said that. Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
come and join us, give your thoughts. We don't want to dissect the games because all we're on the focus it's a week on Sunday, mate. Can't it come quick enough if we're honest?
Aye, well, let's no rush it. Let's just take our time here. They're away to Spain or wherever they're away to get.
I think that's what they said the half time, right? If we don't win here, you're not going to Spain. It's simple.
Aye. So imagine that. They didn't win that game when we're all they're away. They're away their oldies. They didn't win the game. What kind of incentives that? Aye. Well, thank God for that reason. Just one. It's another reason I'm glad they win the game. But anyway, it's one of the ones. It's you just got to take your time and don't rush this. And I mean, take your time. I don't mean fall asleep like we did in the first half of that game. No, I don't mean that. I mean, the game can come, but let's get everything right and get in position to take on Motherwell. And let's not take anything for granted. It needs to be won. And we're not going to win it unless we go out and win it and apply ourselves. But we're more than capable of doing it. You see them when they're at it. They really are a decent team. They really are a decent team, and they're getting better and better and better. And it's no finished yet, mate. This is not a finished team they were looking for. I don't think you're ever going to get a finished team anyway, the way things are, the financial things. But it's not a finished product yet. Let's put it that way. But there's more to come for this group of players. There's no doubt about that.
I said, mate, just if people get fit and we've got that option in our diary, because let's be honest, you can't take away Wojciechowski's form, Rob. You've got the option in the diary, and if you bring Sterling in at right back, and you bring Romans in at left back, we've actually improved our team, mate.
We've bought in Deary.
What's that?
We've bought in Deary. Deary's our player.
No, what I'm saying is, in this run-in, mate, you can, on Sunday, with two arguably influential players not up for selection, mate, maybe three.
Aye.
You know, so we've got improvement just in our squad at the moment. Hopefully, if things go our way with our knocks, Rob.
Well, that's the benefit of having this kind of small break, if you like, Ox. Obviously not playing this weekend.
It's a conspiracy, bro.
Well, it gives us the opportunity, but as you say, to get the players fit. Mikey Moore as well. He obviously came off at half time. Daniel said his fitness has been up and down. He's been carrying something, so hopefully this week lets him recover with that. Roman's hopefully back for the Motherwell game. If not, certainly by the sounds of it, it'll be the Hearts game. But you're in a better position with this wee break. As long as you can go to the training camp, get through that, good minutes in the legs of players. I think Southside said there'll be a kind of bounce game over there. But it gives Danny Rowe an opportunity just to, I said it in a previous show, just get away here from the media, because this 5-game run-in, it's going to be nip and tuck all the way through it. The media's going to be looking for snippets of information and comments where you can come back and be bitten in the backside. So going away to Spain, that wee break, you suddenly come back, you're in a better position with your squad as well. And when you've got selection problems, particularly up front, you've got Chamiti getting a double, Miovski getting a double, and if Nadiri can get fit and come through, which sounds like doesn't sound good, but if he comes through it, then you're in a better position with strike force options as well. So suddenly everybody's fit, eager to play because they want to be part of this running.
Okay.
Well, there's options there. Oxy, even if Nadiri doesn't make it, and it is as bad as we first thought, but we don't know that for sure. There's going to be doing scans just to give them an idea. But the Romans should come back. Skov Olsen should be able to work on his fitness, and we Mikey Moore should be able to work on their fitness as well. But what I also like about it'll be a team bonding kind of thing, and just everybody in this together. But I also like the fact that that Andrew Kavanagh and a few directors in the recruitment team is going to have discussions about the future as well. They're being proactive, and taking advantage of the downtime with, thinking ahead to next season and thinking about what their strategy is going to be and where they need to improve and what sort of business they're going to do in the future, which a club use stature and size has got to do. So they're being professional as well as you know, having some downtime. So I think all in all, I think the whole idea around going away is a good thing for the whole club, you know, just to put themselves away in a bubble.
Yeah, well, listen, you've got to sort out the logistics of pre-season and all the things you want to do. You might be up against other teams or who maybe try to go to the same place. All these things you maybe don't even hear about. So you've got to sort of contract situations and then who you're going to replace and who you're going to keep and who you can get in, what your budget is before you go anywhere. And that'll be influencing a lot all better because you've got it. If we're doing it over the line here and results go over by elsewhere, you've got that pot of money coming to you, you've no budgeted for, which is automatic entry into the Champions League. So that's a potential. So all that changes all your budget, and it might even change the calibre of player you're attracting all bit.
Oh, that's it. You just don't know, mate. It's all if, buts, and maybes, isn't it? It's again, I'll hark back to facts. You need to work out for the facts. What's the budget going to be if all that goes wrong? That's where you should be budgeting.
That's fair.
So I still think there'll be a hefty budget there, even though that goes wrong, mate. I still think there'll be at least £30 million at least, and that's without selling anybody.
So you're saying what you're saying? Listen to this one, lads. You're saying that the bonanza at the Champions League money isn't a given.
I think it's got to say that, ain't you? You've got to get there, haven't you? First of all, you've got to get there. You've got to win the league to get there. And then secondly, it's not in our hands, really. It's into there's a couple of other options that could actually take it away from you. I think Olympiacos? I think they're in the behind, but there's another one you were saying the other night there. So there's nothing guaranteed there.
They've got to up their coefficient, mate.
Yeah. So there's nothing guaranteed, no matter what way you go. So there's three scenarios, but the first part of these scenarios, or the three steps, but the first part of these steps is you've got to win your league. So all the rest of it doesn't count if you don't win your league. So you've got to win the league, and then you start looking at them. So they put that in the back burner. They know what you're looking at. You can't budget. You can't depend on that. So there's no point to it speculating because you just make yourself disappointed. And they're saying, "Oh, we've got this, that to spend, but we're not going to get it." But you're right. If you do get it, you could look for I don't know a better quality team. I go with better quality player because I don't always think spending more money on players or larger budget, larger transfer fee on a player makes him a better player. I mean, I don't think Scott Olsen's or Scove Olsen is a £10 million player. Big De Giga came to us. He'd already been for a £10 million player. He didn't look a £10 million player. He does now, but he didn't then. So I'm no big on this. So we need to go and spend 15 million on a player. No, let's go and spend a couple of million on a brilliant player that nobody's actually discovered. let's do that. And there is players out there, as Chokwani proves, as Big Naderi's proven, Romans has proven. There is quality players out there, mate, if you know what you're doing. So there's no doubt about that. Romans is a good one. You can just see the boys. The boy's just got it, hasn't he? He's got that X factor. He definitely is. We've got money to spend. Put it that way. Let's spend it wisely. Whatever amount it is, let's spend it wisely. So we need to identify right away. As Alec was saying there, it's good that they're planning and now and getting the strategy together because if you don't get the strategy together, you don't know what players to buy. So that all comes into what you're looking for your team, your type of football you want to play. I don't like one style, as we said before. I like a team and a squad of players that's versatile and can play a number of positions, a number of styles. So you'll know all of this, but it's good that we're actually thinking about it.
Right. It comes across as a manager, yeah, and it's not just a manager for the actual football game, AK. It's a manager of the whole ethos and what you're trying to achieve. But I think he's bought in it quite quickly, and we'll see what it takes us. Hopefully he gets it right, mate, and we're on the saloon celebrating, yes?
Yes, I see what you're doing there. It's listen, again, I touched on it earlier. I think that comes from his background and his apprenticeship, basically. learning off of Hansi Flick at Bayern Munich. You know, that's they've got winning and culture instilled in their club, just the same as us. But their longevity is impressive. That their financial clout affords them to be at the top table for playing for the big prizes. Unfortunately, our financial constraints don't. But we're as big a club as Bayern Munich. Have no doubt about that. We know that, and they know that. But obviously, with TV money getting spread unfairly about it's kind of plastic clubs that are coming through now. I think a lot of it because of the finances, your PSGs and your Man Cities, Chelsea. They were the big clubs. No back in the 60s, 70s and stuff. So no, Chelsea weren't. No for me. No for me. It was only when Abramovich came along that they became a massive club. But they're even in Germany, the Leipzigs and that they weren't about, But
we won the Cup Winners' Cup the year before us, mate.
Aye, well, but they've not got a great pedigree. I don't think early years. But since Abramovich came in, the last 20 odd years, Chelsea have been a massive club. But it's just finances and stuff. But Danny Rowe, a great pedigree, great credentials to take the club on, and the fact he went to Sheffield Wednesday as well to, get him used to the British style of football, and the way the clubs get run in the UK is probably different from the way the clubs get run in Germany. So that was an eye opener for him. But all the sort of experience he had there, under the constraints that he was under, I think was good for his background coming into our club again. So kudos to Andrew Cavan and the selection team for picking him ahead of Ancelotti Jr. or Gerrard or Muscat, the ones that was seemingly in for it. So let's see where it takes us. But it's winning. That's the mentality that Danny Rowe has, and that aligns with our thinking.
Aye. Listen, as we've said before, and we'll say it again, maybe, Rob, you need a bit of luck, and people might say the goal just before half time was that bit of luck at the weekend. And then other people say you make your own luck when you're out scoring the 5 goals in the second half. But you need a bit of luck, and that might be that injuries are all right, or you don't get any more injuries. All these things come into play. Because I'll take Albert's point that we've got 10, maybe 11 players if they're all fit, and then when we don't have maybe 10 players, if 2 or 3 of them are missing, we're not as strong on the park as we could be in big games. I'm not saying you're first 11 on the park all the time, Rob. I'm not saying that at all, but you want as many of them as possible.
You do. Obviously, you want your strongest team to start every game where possible, and obviously that wasn't possible on Sunday for obvious and different reasons for some players. But I think you can see now that even when we've not got our strongest 11 on the park and you're missing 2 or 3, where we're at currently, the way we sit today, you've still got a bit of belief there that the players that are coming in will still do enough, and they should do enough. That they've got the qualities to do it. We spoke about like Magoma replacing Romans. He's a young boy, but he's not really done anything wrong in his career. He's developed, he's improved. He's still got weaknesses in his game.
Wasn't he good at the weekend, was he? He wasn't good at the weekend.
No, Falkirk done their homework and they targeted their 2 fullbacks. We touched on it and you spoke about it last night as well. If that's Sterling and Romans, I fully expect that Falkirk would have had a different approach to the game because Tavernier's not got the legs and Magoma's not got the physicality. So there's two areas that Falkirk could try and exploit, which they did. You've seen that from the get-go, as Albert said. The first ball went to Tav's side. The goal obviously comes from Tav's side as well. So they done the homework. But when you talk about us, we've got enough quality, we've got enough strength in the squad. When everybody's fit and available, as I said earlier, when you're in a title race, everybody wants to play, regardless of how their performance been over the past number of games and months. They all want a bit of the action and the pitch to be involved in this running. So it's only a good thing that we've got that. But certainly, I think you're safe to say just now, who your preferred starting 11 would be. And I think Danny Rowe knows that as well. But when confidence is the way it is at the moment, that can carry some players through that maybe aren't the same quality.
Aye. I mean, you're doing well, albeit sometimes if you get your magnificent 7 on the pitch, yeah.
Aye. Magnificent 10, you mean? It's as you said, it's only a bit of luck as well. You just got to wait and see. But if you get everybody off it, which is probably not going to happen, but if you do get them off it, we know we're strongest 10 anyway. That one position's up for grabs, and we'll get 2 or 3 players that can play it. None of them are first time. You go, it's definitely their position. As much as muchness as when it comes to that right on side. But aye, it's the 10 make us a strong team, mate. They definitely do. The 2 fullbacks that played on Sunday are no more fullbacks. Let's be honest about it. They aren't the fullbacks. They're covering. The fullbacks are still in. Our defence is, we know our defence. It's Sterling, De Jager, Fernandez, and Romans. So that's basically our defence. We know that now. If we can get that on, we're in a right good shout. If we can get them playing, we're in a right good shout. Definitely, in my opinion. But when Tav plays and Magoma plays, it does weaken the team. There's no getting away from it. And as it proved there on Sunday, as Robert said, they're targeting them. But we knew they were going to do it anyway, especially Magoma. They'll target him all day long for his physicality. That's why when you play Motherwell, I'm expecting that big guy to be pulling out on him. If he's playing, they'll pull the big guy right out on him again. That's how they got their goal, remember, in the 1-each draw. So they'll be doing it again. Tav, they know they've hit the ball by Tav. Tav's not catching anybody now. He's just simply isn't. He made a mistake there in Sunday. Unfortunately, he never had a good game, but he made a bad mistake on Sunday. But that's what you're going to get for Tav and Suter and all when he plays.
Aye, listen, they're at different ends of their career. I think one of a decent career. I think he's a steady player. He's a decent football player. I don't know if he's a left back, and I'm hoping that Tav goes out as a legend for his AK, because I actually think he deserves
it. I wouldn't class Tav as a legend, but that's everybody's entitled to their opinion.
So who do you class as a legend then?
Well, I've got my own opinion who I think's legends, but I don't think that Tavernier's a legend. I think his stats and all that is unbelievable as an individual, but rather than praise individuals, I'm looking for team ethic. But I just think Tavernier's got Gassama. Right, on Sunday there again, Tavernier is there, Gassama starts in front of him. Totally ineffective. I think we're all in agreement to that. When he comes on last week and he makes the impact, and you were waxing lyrical about him, who was behind him that game? Sterling. Sterling gives him the freedom to run into the space. Tavernier kills Gassama's space. Danny Rowe switched Gassama to the left-hand side and he excelled again. I think Tavernier is killing Gassama, and I think that's how his face is tripping him every time he has to play with Tavernier behind him. Your thoughts?
Well, Gassama was absolutely non-existent in the first half, and I don't think it was anything to do with Tavernier. Rob?
It's hard to say really based on the first half performance of any player, if I'm being honest, because nobody was really up for the fight in the first half. First half an hour, 40 minutes, there was no fight from anybody. They were all ineffective. I think the kind of point that AK is trying to make is when Tav, you've seen him in the first goal in particular, when there's a bit of a breakdown of communication between Chugwani and Giga, the ball ricochets and Tav's ahead of play, but Gassama's only maybe 2 or 3 yards in front of him. But then Falkirk exploit that kind of area that Tav leaves. I think that's the point that AK's making, that Tav sometimes encroaches into that area that Gassama likes to pick the ball up.
When I put my hands up and say Tav's no the best defender I've ever seen in my life, mate, yeah. It's never been his game from the minute he walked in the door and he scored that free kick at Eastern Road, mate. Never.
No, he's listen. Over the years, we've always said that Tavernier's numbers and stats, you can't take that away from him. He's been a great contributor with goals and assists, and a lot of good deliveries as well. Particularly of the kind of more recent seasons that they've started to wind down, of course. But defensively, it's always been a question mark over him. We've seen when he was with Goldson, a lot of our goals came down our right hand side between Tavernier and Goldson, and they were the fall guys. But a lot of it as well, Goldson was picking up positions that Tav was leaving defensively, getting brought out of defence over to the right hand side. It wasn't Goldson's point, so it's a domino effect. But you can't take his numbers and stats away. When he's a legend, that's up for debate. And as Ake says, people say aye, people will say no. Should he have more titles and trophies for his numbers? Absolutely. Should we, as a club, have more during this time? 100% should. But I think that'll be something that Tavernier will want to do as well. If it is to be his last season, which I firmly believe it will be, Ox, he'll want to go out in a high. But I wouldn't do it for Tavernier. I'd do it for your support before a player, if that makes sense.
I'll do it for myself, but I hope that because we all get what we want, Paul Bear, then that means he goes out the door with his held high. And I genuinely believe when you look back at James Tavernier, the longevity, which doesn't happen that often nowadays in modern football, his numbers, how he's conducted himself, and what he's achieved. He's sometimes good teams and bad teams, mate. You'll think back fondly of James Tavernier when he's finished, mate. You shouldn't be on the Hall of Fame just now. You'd have to wait till you're finished, mate. Yeah.
His numbers are there. You can't argue his numbers. They'll be thought in 10 years when people will talk about young boys will be telling that they're hitting their 20s will be telling the boys that 10 year old behind them. I seen Tavernier play and score goals on right back. What a player! And they'll gather a stature when people are looking back and looking at his numbers. His trophies are a different kettle of fish, but he's one of the players that he's unfortunate, mate. I said before that if he played in some of the good Rangers teams we've had over the years, would have probably won at least one more European trophy, I think, because that suited him right down to the ground. The European games suited him right down to the ground. And would have played in the better teams, like the Butchers teams and the what do you call them, Davy Weir even, he'd have definitely won more trophies, but he'd probably, that's the biggest compliment he gave him, that would have probably won a European trophy, at least one more European trophy with him in the team. But I'm no big on this sentimentality nonsense. No, I mean, if he's going to be here, I'd like to see him going out as a winner, but I don't want him on the park. I don't mind him sitting in the squad or sitting in the stand or he covers us, but I don't want him in the park. It's just sentimental nonsense if we're going to play him that way. Like Sunday, he had to play on Sunday. Well, he didn't have to play on Sunday. He could have played Arns. Arguably, he's better than Arns. I know you don't like Arns, you know what I mean? But he didn't have to play on Sunday. So
you accepted my argument. Remember, we had that ding dong at the start of the season.
No, I'm not accepting your argument. I still think Arns is a better player than him.
Oh dear!
The wee man done a good foul and Sunday, remember, as well. That's probably his best. That's probably that and the goal against Livingston is his best contribution to Rangers. And if you stag that against Habs goals, you're like, well, nah, there's no comparison.
Yeah, but if we win the league by a point, or we win it by 2 points, mate. If I was back Sarans, I'd be claiming I won the league.
You're right. So that. But
argue with him, he reminds me of how the West was won, mate. So, okay, listen, we're going to go to the tune, AK, and I'll come back for you then. You've opened a whole different debate, AK, yeah? You know what I'm going to ask you, don't you?
Okay, on you go.
I'm going to ask you for your top 3 legends, and then I'm going to pick holes in them. Because Fox is telling me you get stuck right into you.
Okay, boss.
All right, get yourself a mute because I'm going to have a tune.
listening on your own, why not take part and give us a phone? We would love to hear your points of view, so get off your bum and call 0141 356 1972.
Oh, thanks for that, Foxy boy. Hope you two of your thinking had been a legend. And maybe give you that AK. It's a term that's maybe thrown about quite loosely now. What do you base it on? Do you base it on longevity? What you've achieved as an individual, what you've achieved as a team? Would that be fair? Would that be fair? Because obviously we've had guys that's come in the door, maybe say Caniggia, for instance, nobody could doubt that Caniggia was a tap player, and even when we see him in the twilight, yeah, the guy was a class act. But he wasn't that involved with the club that long, so great player. We've seen him in the twilight, but you couldn't see he was a legendary status at our football club, maybe in world football. That's a different argument, eh?
It's difficult to say what's a legend, what's no legend. No, I mean it's different things to different people. And you can't say MD's right or MD's wrong with their choices of legends. But if I was putting it, you can. I know you can, but it's the normal people don't. Know what I mean? But, the legend. To go on the Rangers board, I mean, when I done the tour at Ibrox, they were talking to the guy, and one of the wee boys had asked him, how do you get your name on the board? And he went, it's, he said there was 5 contributing factors to get on that board. And it was getting into character and type of guy here and blah, blah, blah. So you're sitting going, well, that's one way of looking at it. No, I mean, to go on the Legends board, to me, you have to do something really special. No, I mean, if you look at it and say the Legend board for me at the moment's too big. It's too many players on it that I don't think they're good players. I don't want to take them off the board now they're on it, but they really shouldn't go on it to start, in my mind, to start with, because it should have been kept special, that board, really special. You had to be a really special man, player, talent, whatever way you want to put it, to go on that board. It's not a top goal scorers board either. I mean, so it doesn't have to be a top goal scorer, but that's a part if you're the best of your position. You know what I mean? So you go on that. I'm talking about the club's history. So up until that point, right?
If you've done it like McCoy's through a long period of time, you combine the two, you then would go on the board, yeah.
Aye. It's difficult, mate. It's difficult to say what makes a legend. But you're right with Caniggia. Caniggia was a great player. So was Mendes. So was Tugai. They're great players, mate. No doubt about it. But the legends, not really. Novo. I liked wee Novo. Scored a lot of important goals for us. Is he a legend? I don't know. I don't think so. But he's got a shout to go on the board. I don't think he's on the board.
Maybe longevity, but was his 4th season, maybe, was it? 4th season.
And then you look at Big Jig. He's on the board. What's he on the board? I look at him and say, I don't understand why he's on the board. There's other players as well. A question as well, but
even Gaza. Some people, and I'll come to you in a minute, just give them a bit of thinking time. Even Gaza. I mean, Gaza was, for some people, he was the best player they'd seen at Ibrox, depending on what age group you were. Yeah, they might say that. They might go for Laudrup. But Gaza was on the base for, what, in reality, 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Was it?
Another thing as well.
9, and then I went that last season. He played for 2.5 years, didn't he?
Another thing is, I've heard players like, I think we should be the best player. Like Greg should be the best player of all time and all this nonsense. You can't really say that. Nobody's lived to 150-year-old and seen every Rangers team or every player playing. You know what I mean? So of your time, you can pick of your time your greatest player, your greatest Rangers player of your time. But you can't say the greatest Rangers player in the history of the club because we haven't seen them all. Nobody has. So that annoys me. It's the world class. You only can, in my opinion, you only can have 11 world class players at any given time. And that can change quite quickly. You know what I mean? It's no a given. Like, that's it for all time for the next 10 years. It's how you're playing. Are you the best in your position in the world? Sometimes sometimes you're not. It's just it's one of the things.
We had that last
So
night.
the legend's the same thing. Sorry, mate.
We had that last night with the goalie, mate. Yeah, outside was making the point that he thought for a couple of seasons he was in the top 3 goalies in the world. And I think Bridge thought he was saying he was one of the best goalies in the world ever. He wasn't. He was only saying for that particular snapshot in time. But that was the way I took it. Anyway, AK will give you a bit of breathing there, mate. Get the old cranes out.
Send the SOS in social media, mate.
Nah, I don't do that. No, listen, it's subjective, isn't it? It's your own opinion on things. No saying anybody's right, no saying anybody wrong. But if anybody's got a difference of opinion, come in and give us it. Phone the number, as you say, 0141 356 1972. But I'll give you my.
How you doing this reverse order or 1 to 3?
I was just going to say, do you want me to do it reverse order? I'll do it reverse order. Right. And the first one is it'll no be everybody's pick, but it's mine. And I watched his interview recently on YouTube there, and it's John Brown. And it's a brilliant watch, by the way. Anybody that's not seen it, loads of good wee stories and wee snippets about his insight, how he became a Rangers player, what it was like in the dressing room in snubbing Scotland and telling Andy Roxburgh at GTF he didn't want part of his team. But it's good. So Bomber Brown is my first, and I just loved his whole commitment. Wasn't the best player. He was one of the guys that had battled to even start his career. If you listen to it, he did. I think he had these cartilages and ligaments removed for his knees, and a lot of the managers and that was looking for him always thought he was a good player. But didn't think he would make it because of the knee injuries. But he made his way to Rangers, and for me, he epitomised what a Rangers player, hard, committed, done everything for the cause. You cut Bomber open and he bleeds blue. So he's my first pick. And third, my second one is Barry Ferguson. Again, young boy, coming into a team full of stars, advocate. And I watched Barry, he was 19-year-old. 20-year-old, and in that midfield with Van Bronckhorst, Alberts, Tugai, Rayner, he was the main guy. That's how good he was, and they all looked for him and eventually got his captaincy, and they led with, his ability, shone through, scored some big goals, won trophies, led the team, just pure Rangers man for me. And the first one for me is Richard Gough. He just growing up as a young boy, he led us through the 9 in a row seasons. He led by example, another one, and just the respect all his peers. I thought so. That's my 3 Oaks.
Listen, Bomber Brown, legendary status. I mean, because first and foremost, he's always had his heart in his sleeve, Paul Bearer. You've always known what Bomber was. I know you can maybe say it. Richard always wanted to play for the club, and who was number 2, mate? Because I was just reading some stuff about John Brown there, mate. Who did you say number 2?
Barry Ferguson.
All right, Barry. Oh, listen, again, mate, there was a cup final when Barry single-handedly dragged Rangers for 2-1 down, scored a free kick, and just dominated the whole game. And then you think back to his European performance. Some of the European games as a real young boy. Well, Jerry, for some people, maybe the way he left the club, maybe the second time around was the ideal. But you couldn't argue he's a magnificent player. Bomber, that partnership with Richard Gough, 92-93 season, Albert. Robert, you might have to take a wee bit of back seat with this, but Albert, 92-93 season. Brown was outstanding. Maybe Brown, Gough, Gorham.
Aye, definitely, mate. Just prior to him coming to Rangers for Dundee, maybe 1, maybe 2 seasons before he came, he was absolutely brilliant, mate. Absolutely unbelievable with them. And then he came to us and just carried on. If he's been there for 100 years, mate. Superb player. Superb defender, really, honestly. Heart in your sleeve, it was all in. He would have never, if he's playing the right now, he would have never stayed on the park, mate. That's a fact. Playing now, but in the day when you actually could tackle somebody, he was superb, mate. He's a good football player, mate. He doesn't get a lot. He gets credit for being a hard defender, but he was actually a good football player, and he could take a shot on, mate. He could score a goal. So aye, John Brown, great guy.
Aye. Listen, I get it. And if you look at the three guys, what they've all got is they've all got longevity in different ways, but they've all got longevity with it from Club Robert. How important is that for you, mate?
I think it's important, mate, but given the way the modern football is, I think it's, as you said, it's hard to try and get somebody that has more than maybe 3 or 4 seasons now. Obviously, Tav's in his 10th season ways, and that's where a lot of people say the status that he gets with the longevity, the commitment to the club, all that kind of aspect of it. But I think as in modern day, it's quite hard to find somebody that will stay and stick around. And listen, when you sign a player, any club, if you want him to be successful at you first and foremost, but you wouldn't mind teams sniffing about him because it means that he's doing well, he's performing well, and you can reinvest the squad. But longevity, it is a big part, but the way the modern game's going, very hard to find somebody that will stay maybe beyond 3 or 4 seasons. Sometimes it's even less, mate. But they're all attributes and all factors that I think starting to disappear into the modern game from what it was 15, 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it's long gone.
I get it, mate. I get it. Listen, John Brown's got 8 league medals. Anybody's got 8 league medals. I don't think you could argue with their legendary status. Yeah, you know what I mean. And Richard Gough, what was he? He won 9 with us and 1 with the United. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, so he's got Barry Ferguson 3 under Advocat and 2 under when he came back underwater. Yeah, would that be right? I don't think he got a medal for the 9 in a row season. I know he played that season, but I don't know. I don't think he did. Yeah, 2 under Advocat, then 2003. 2003 Helicopter Sunday, 1 under Alex, 2 under Alex McLeish, and then Walter. By the way, that's a bit of a stat, isn't it? 3 Rangers managers he won the league with. Barry Ferguson, yeah. Oh, but I don't think you could argue with that neither. He's done enough to get it. You know what I mean? People might have questioned the way he left the club second time around. I think he left the first time around. He didn't want to leave, and it was just circumstances. And yeah, Barry Ferguson, I can't argue with that. Richard Gough, mate, 9 league championships in a row. Won the league with the D United legend in the game just for that alone. 10 league championship medals. And what he done with us, and sometimes he was up there with the way, the enthusiasm and the leadership. He drove us forward sometimes in games, and I couldn't argue with that, mate. AK, why did you do that to me? I couldn't argue with one of them.
Yeehaw! I'm dancing with wolves here, Ox.
Yeah. AK, aye, fair play, mate, fair play. But aye, listen, the medal collection and what they've achieved on a lot of the players in that team. But as you say, you throw in Gaza in there. 2 league medals. John Brown's got 6 more league medals in Gaza. Yeah.
I know, it's astonishing. It's but Gaza was Gaza, wasn't it? He was never going to hang about long.
Aye.
I bet that some of these players will go to the new.
What about yourself, Ox, Albert, Rob? Could you name 3 legends yourselves, guys? We trip down memory lane.
Well, I think my number 1 would probably be Russell Martin. He played for us. He played for us and managed us.
So you've got him up there with John Gregg, haven't you?
Oh, definitely, mate. I think there's no doubt in that. I don't think there's any argument in that. I'm still trying to think, and everything I think I've got three, another three pop into my head, and it's difficult, and it's really difficult.
Mr. Fox has got 3 for you, AK, yeah? Well, if you're talking Rangers legends, he's got Mr. Struth, Willie Waddle, Walter Smith, and Scott. Well, he's added in Scott Simon as well, because obviously after Mr. Struth, yeah. You know, when you get it, if you're talking about Rangers legends, aye, of course. But obviously, only Willie Waddle played for us, and he had a distinguishing career. So for some people, you know, what he done for the club, other people don't like some of the things he done for the club, but he was a manager in Barcelona. He played in some famous teams. He won the league.
Built the stadium.
He helped build the stadium. He brought in Joe Wallace. He never won the league. He won the league with Kilmarnock. He then took us to the Barcelona, mate. Yeah, and won that competition. Dealt with all the stuff around about that. So, but just on the part for us to see as a legend take Albert's part, like Willie Waddle. You know, it wouldn't be a name that would come to the fore with you, Rob, would it?
Probably not, mate. Again, it's as Albert said, it's based on generations, who you've seen play, and what defines a legend in people's eyes. What is it that makes a legend for you? Is it character? Is it the trophies? Is it goals as a striker? When you said there, McCoist won 2 European Golden Boots, highest goal scorer for the club. Does that mean that he's a legend in some people's opinion? Like the top of the list?
Without a shadow of a doubt, mate.
Oh, I'm not denying he's not a legend, but I'm saying, would it be the top of people's list? Again, it would depend on what defines a legend in people's eyes. When you look at managers, for instance, is it based on what you've won as trophy-wise? I mean, Willie Waddle could be right up there, obviously, of course, because he's won the European trophy. Walter got to a European final, but he's won more trophies as a manager. So, again, it's all subjective and depends on who you've seen and what you've witnessed. But there's been many great Sox, many greats that you could have a massive list again, and you would see how it's changed over the years, and to see where the changes are and what becomes a legend or what was a legend.
Longevity's got a part to me, and that's how I think Tav. And Tav's numbers, individual numbers, give him two out of the 3. And if you think back to where we were when he came in the door, I think 2015. Yeah, he's 11 seasons at the club. His attendance record. They don't take this the wrong way, AK. He's always turning up for his work.
No, listen, I'm no tab bashing at all. As I say, it's subjective. It's your opinion. I've got my opinion. Tav's been a phenomenal buy. See, with the outlay of money that we put, we bought him for Wigan. What is it, 250 grand, 300 grand, something like that. For his return, a phenomenal buy. But I just don't put him up there on the pedestal as easily as others do. But as I say, it's subjective.
Is that because he's not got the medal ball?
Aye, probably, and that's no Tavernier's fault either. But he's also played by a team that's went to a European final. I mean, the 3 guys that I mentioned there hadn't went to a European final. You know, so that you could go, well, Tavernier is as good as him, if no better than him, because he went, well, no, Barry did, sorry. But
I would argue that 2 of them were robbed, mate.
No, I know, of course. Aye, of course. But as I say, it's subjective. Personally, I think, going back to what Albert said earlier, see if Tavernier had played under Walter or under Advocaat or in better teams with that run about him, I think he would have done with Fernando. I think he'd have got moved into midfield and had a more solid right back and behind them. But that's my opinion.
Mate, I've never seen Tav as a midfield player. Albert?
No, never about, mate. I don't think so. I don't think he's got the ability to play midfield or up front. But see, working what Rob's saying about McCoy, you could apply that to Tavernier. His record goal scoring right back in Scotland, and if not in Europe. He's won the Golden Boot in the European European run. It's, I mean, it's there. So if it's the goals and the golden boots, and I'm not saying it shouldn't be, Tab should be in there for that reason alone. But I think it's, he likes to try to pick these three players. I think it's three categories we should pick and putting players into the categories. And my categories would be great player, brilliant player, and a legend. And that goes right through every player you've ever seen. Fit them into the three categories or a bang average category. You have a fourth and says a bang average category. Or a fifth pure nutter push category. I think we should have that. I think we should have that category, mate.
That might be a longer list, but that's another.
It might very well be, mate. But you know what I'm saying? It's a difficult one to pick three legends. No, I mean it really is. It's difficult. I think it's impossible.
Look at one of the top players we signed for our club back in the day. Kuznetsov, mate. We brought him in with a reputation that he was going to help us in a different level, and we seen him in a debut, and people were thinking, wow. What happened the next week? Oh, yeah.
Thanks to Johnson.
Aye, so it's mental. What about yourself, Rob, being somebody maybe just a wee bit younger than myself? What are you thinking?
Well, again, it's probably difficult because most of the great players over the years have all been kind of before my time, as you'll know, mate. So it's hard to say who would be legends in the ones that I've seen play. But when you look at the history and things, I think McCoist is up there. The goalie you mentioned last night is out Southside said that period of time he was considered one of the best in the world at that particular time. So I think he's worth of a mention. But guys like Barry Ferguson who've led by example, they've had character, they've got you through tough times, they've turned games around, things like that can impact your decision and who you class as a legend. But again, it's all subjective in what defines a legend for you. Is it numbers? Is it titles? Is it goals? Is it just character? Is it leadership? A lot of factors, and I think that's where it becomes very subjective, and that's probably why that board is so full, albeit because it's a matter of opinion and a lot of tick boxes for some people to get on that wall. I mean, I've heard you talk before in previous shows with guys that aren't on that wall that should be. Is it Jim Forrest that you've spoke fondly of many times? He's not on that wall.
Mate, I've never seen Jim Forrest play, mate. Met Jim Forrest, but I've never seen him play. But you just go and look at his stats, mate. It'll frighten you, won't it, Albert?
Oh, aye, definitely, mate. Definitely. If it's down to that, he should go on it, no problem, mate. It's pretty remarkable. I don't know. See, if you actually brought the raw stats, men, now, if you brought it into the stats that they talk about it now, average goal time or goals per game, he's got to be way up there. He's got to be streets ahead of everybody else. He's got to be. McCoy scored a lot of goals, but he played a lot of games. But if you look at Forrest, goals per game for the amount of games he played, it's astonishing.
Aye. I think there's a certain era when you become more starstruck with football players when they're your sort of favourites, AK rather than legends, yeah. But if I was picking my number one legend based on a lot of things, it would be a guy who's got 10 league winner medals for our club, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know who I'm going to say?
Carry on.
Ian Ferguson, mate.
Oh, aye. Great player. Fergie was phenomenal in that midfield, wasn't he? He was bought as a forward as well. He scored the winning goal in the Scottish Cup final for St Mirren before he came to us. But aye, another Scot as well, Ox. You know, he left everything out on the park and he developed his game to suit his surroundings. Walter and Souness seen him as more a digger in the midfield because he was his character. He was hardy. He could win the ball, but he could also play and he could hit a shot. He developed his game tenfold for when he started his career to when he finished his career. So, good choice, Ox.
Aye, and another one always had his heart in his sleeve, yeah.
Oh, 100%. I think that's what sticks out with the character of these guys, Ox. And I think that's where maybe Tavernier falls down, in my opinion, when you're looking for a leader. You know, you can lead by examples, and I'm not saying, I mean, Tavernier has stepped up so many times with a massive goal in a massive game, but it's maybe an unfair thing that I tar him with, because he's no won enough for the longevity he's been there. But all his individual stats, they're all up there with the best of the Rangers players that has played before him. But just for me, winners, you know, the character, everything, you know, that you didn't need a manager sometimes, which, and by the way, see for what you're hearing for the weekend, that's brilliant. That's music to the supporters' ears and the manager's ears, that he doesn't even need to say anything, because soon as says that, the characters that he brought into the dressing room, your Butcher, your Chris Wood, your Graham Roberts, Ray Wilkins, another one, if they needed to sort something out by half time, it was already done, and they were all, you know, come on, we need to be in this together. We need to improve performances, leadership. You know, that epitomises a Rangers player when you hear things like that. So that's great to hear as well.
Listen, there's another. You mentioned two players there, Butcher and Ray Wilkins, yeah. The Butcher, when he came in, was unbelievable for us, and obviously broke his leg in 1988?
88.
88.
87,
87, 88.
87, 88, I think November 87, but I think he broke his leg. And I put an argument up that we Goff came in at a team that potentially we could have went deeper than the Steaua Bucharest that year. Whether we're going to win the European Cup, it's a bold statement to make, but I think we would have seen off Steaua Bucharest if he'd have been playing, and then, but that would have been us in the semi-final. So, but Butcher didn't have a longevity with a successful career. Never won the Scottish Cup. You know, as a player in his career, legendary player. And I think he'd be on the Hall of Fame for us, but captain. But, you know, he broke his leg, missed a fair chunk, and then he was away by 90, no long after the Italian 90, he was away. So he didn't have a longevity. Wilkins, only at the end of his career, we all knew the class, we all liked him. But he wasn't away that long, you know. Anyway, talking about legends, we couldn't get any, so Billy's joined us. All right, Billy boy. Oh, he's gone. No, he's there. Billy.
Aye, mate, I don't know what happened there. The volume is right down. That's what it was. He's all right, Troops?
Aye.
Aye, good. Oxy stole my thunder, mate. He stole my thunder. I couldn't believe it. I was sitting there chatting a bit to get on there, and you came out with Ian Ferguson. I couldn't agree more, mate. That was my number one there. Ian Ferguson epitomised everything. Every single attribute needed to be a Glasgow Rangers footballer. He had the lot, mate. And we actually stole him for St Mirren for £1 million. I remember years ago when we signed him, boys up in Hart Hill, I says, we have got an absolute cracker of a football player here. And they were all, oh, I don't know. I says, I'm telling you, we've got a belter there, right? And he scored that scissor kick, the volley. I think it was against Aberdeen. And we come back off the bus that night. One of the boys for Hart Hill, Bobby Brown, came out and he shook my hand and he says, wee man, you were bang on about Fergie. He says, what a player that is. So that, Ian Ferguson was different class, mate. And, you know, I don't know, I think he stays in, or did you know, stay in Australia?
Yeah,
at one time.
Australia, right.
Aye. I remember, there was a Prince Henry Rangers supporters duo on, and it was in the Masonic in Hart Hill years and years and years ago, and that's where I had the Rangers supporters dance hang. And Fergie, he comes through and he was only drinking because he didn't drink, and he actually went into there was a pub in Hart Hill called the Jungle, the West End Bar. That's what its nickname was, the Jungle. And Fergie actually went into the Jungle. He went into the wrong pub, but he went into the right pub, if that makes sense, because that's where the bus used to leave for. Like, you know, the boys are all looking at him saying, that's Ian Ferguson there. What are you doing in here, Fergie? I'm true for us, do you? No, you're in the wrong pub. It's in the wrong pub. It's along the street, big man. But I had a wee story. Another one, mate. I don't know what you think, guys.
Charlie Miller, for me, was a top player. The way he came through the youth system, etc., his fit during his football career, and you know there was only, listen, it was Paul Gascoigne that was keeping Charlie Miller out the team, so that just shows you how good a player Charlie Miller was. I love Charlie Miller and ultimately Charlie Miller was the guy that fired the crosser for Big Brian Laudrup's header up at Tannadice when we won 9 in a row. And my other one, mate, I can't leave him out at all, just for his loyalty through the administration nonsense and that, is Big Lee Wallace. So that's my three Scotsmen, 3 Rangers boys, Ian Ferguson, Charlie Miller and Lee Wallace for me, lads.
Charlie Miller only started 54 league games for his Billy.
He's got a 9.
Tavernier does that this season.
I know, mate. That's how things have changed in football. But you know, that's Charlie Miller played in that Rangers team, mate. I thought Charlie Miller was an exceptional Rangers talent. I remember watching a video years ago as well. It was called The Real McCoist. I don't know if people have still got it. It's out there. It was an all VHS video. And it was Charlie Miller, Ali McCoist, the late Davy Cooper, Big Derek Johnson, your Muckerocks. They were all doing it air races, and they were talking about Charlie Miller and all that down there. And he was obviously Charlie Miller. He was jumping about with McCoist and Davy Cooper and and Big DJ and that. So listen, they boys must have. You don't get into their circle if you're not a good player. You're not a good lad. Like, and when you see Charlie Miller, Big AKL watches him a lot, like, and it's all about the Rangers podcast and that. The way Charlie Miller comes across, it just oozes Glasgow Rangers. Every bit of him just oozes Glasgow Rangers, mate.
I don't think he played enough games for us, mate. I'll be really honest with you, mate. That would say. I mean, he'd one season we had 20, 94, 95. That was when he really burst into a team. And he was good that season, mate, yeah. 95, 96, he played 17. The next 3 seasons after that, he played a total of 14 league games he started. There are much substitute appearances in there, Billy. But without getting into depth, you don't know if you've come on after 10 minutes or you've come on for the last 2. I just normally starts, mate. He started 54 league games. I don't think I thought he was a good football player, and maybe I would argue all better that he never fulfilled his potential, Charlie.
It was unfortunately the right place at the wrong time. It was Gascoigne. Gascoigne was there. So it's just one of these things. He's a good wee player, Charlie. But no, he'll not be a legend because he's not playing enough games. But because if we go down that road, then you can look at all the other ones, Ray Wilkins or these 2 guys. Well, they all played more games, but they never had a long Rangers career. Big Bagheera, no, these players, no. I mean, it's endless, isn't it? I mean, Billy's picked him, but he could have picked maybe 100 other players as well. It's just endless, isn't it?
For different reasons, maybe an unfulfilled legend, Billy. I'll give you that, because I think he had talent.
I'm sure if I was Charlie sitting listening to the show, I'd be saying to you, "Well, get your 9 in a row winners' medals on the table, and we'll talk about who's a legend and who's no." That's what I'd be saying anyway. Because
I don't know if he would. I don't know if he would. I get a medal for the 9 in a row, mate. I don't think he started enough games.
Well, I'm sure Rangers are a got one, mate. I'm positive he's got a 9 in a row medal. AK maybe fund that one out, Ox.
He started 7 league games, 6 substitute appearances, so I don't know what the criteria would be, yeah?
I know. 10, was it no?
What's that, mate?
It used to be 10. It used to be 10. But he played 10 games. The club could get you one, but it's not an official one.
Aye, no problem, mate. Aye.
Look, I think
Charlie would be the first to admit it, that he never fulfilled his potential, and that's a great compliment, because he was a good football player, Billy.
He was different class, mate. That's what I'm saying, Ox. It's Paul Gascoigne that was keeping him out of the team at that time. And obviously, Walter must have seen something in him. You didn't break into teams like Glasgow Rangers where the football players that we had then like say your Loudrops, your Gascoignes and all that in that team. You know, you don't get into that team, shove your way into that team, and be it, well, right, okay, maybe never played the games that we should have played type thing, but you don't break into that team if you've not got something about you. You know what I mean? So that's the reason I swayed for Charlie Miller there, because as I said, I liked wee Charlie Miller. So I did.
He started a total of 58 games for us, mate, and started alongside Gaza 33 times. So Gaza wasn't keeping him out of the team, mate.
Well, there you go then. There you go. But when you look at the time he was there, Ox, you touched on it earlier on, Paul Gascoigne there. You know, the time he was there, the games that we've been playing, or must have been playing it in that season, because we were challenging everywhere, weren't we? We were doing trebles, you know, Scottish Cups, or in the Champions League, etc. You know, Steaua Bucharest, Juventus, and all that, all 8 years. So the pool at that time, mate, you know, it was look at the players in the pools that you could go back on and think that, wow, you know what I mean, what a pool of players we had away back then. So, you know, if that makes sense to you, you know.
I don't want to push your chips, mate, but Charlie Miller never played the treble winning side, mate.
No, I'm not. I didn't say that. I says there were teams there playing. There were players who were there at that time, round about that time that Charlie Miller was playing. He was a Glasgow Rangers player. That they players were going on to win doubles and trebles and Scottish Cups and Leagues Cups. That's what I meant, eh?
I don't know if he played in that cup final. I don't think he did. I don't think he played the Jury Cup final, the Loudrop Cup final yet. I think Durant was the sub. And by the way, getting a subs performance then, there was only 2 subs, Robert. There was now, yeah.
That shows you how times change, mate. When you can go from 2 subs to 5 now, and sometimes it's even, you can name more on the bench in European games. It just shows you how times football's changed. But when you've got greats sitting on the bench, like your Durants, your Gascoignes, your Millers, or whatever you want to include within that, you've got to find a space somewhere for them. And if players are playing well and keeping them out, it just shows you the depth we had back then as well. It just shows you where we were as a side, competing in the European games, as Billy says.
That was another frustration with that group in the mid-90s, mate. Apart from 92, 93, they never really competed in Europe, did they all? But that was a frustration, yeah.
Aye, definitely, mate. Definitely. I mean, there's another one, Durant as well. With Derek Ferguson as well. Some of these players that you were not mentioning, they could all be legends as well. I mean, they definitely go to the club as well. Right. They definitely go to the club.
They're not blue noses. Lee Wallace, mate. I thought Lee Wallace. I don't think he did personally. I thought I get what you're saying. He stuck around. I don't believe anybody came in for Lee Wallace, mate. I think the contract he got with us suited him at the time, suited him. Good player. Not a great player, but I get your point about maybe affected his career because he stayed with us. But whether they match that contract elsewhere is up for debate. Yeah, because we brought him in for Hearts. But listen, anybody stuck around then deserves a bit of respect, yeah.
Oh, definitely, because it was hard times for the club, and we all know because we lived through it. We watched dross that was coming to Ibrox and guys that was wearing the jersey that shouldn't get anywhere near a Rangers team, going with the standard of previous players and managers and stuff. But it was just a totally different place, and it was dark days for the club and support. And it's a place we never want to get there, but we acknowledge it because it's part of our history. We don't bury our history. We're proud of our history, and we carry on making new history, and that's what Danny Roll's doing just now. So it's good to look back, and it's good to acknowledge these guys. I mean, Billy's right. I listened to that podcast with Derek Ferguson and Charlie Miller, and I just love listening to them because they've been in that dressing room, they've been in the environment. They know what the pressures are of wearing the jersey, and you either embrace it or you think, and it's good to have an insight with all the guys. Big DJ coming on the part there, a few weeks, a few months ago with the no surrender, you know. But that wasn't a message just for the players. That was also a message, I think, to the support. Come on, get behind these guys. We're all in this together, and that's the way it should be. So they carry that on. They give that message to the players, and they hope that they embrace it and take it on, because you're not talking to 11 Scots in that dressing room now. There's a lot of different nationalities, a lot of different characters. Your managers, everybody's got to get on the same page and be that unified, collective, because it's a team game at the end of the day. You don't win anything as individuals, but we've got an opportunity here, and we just hope that they all sense that opportunity to put red, white and blue ribbons on that championship trophy for Tavernier to lift at the end of the season.
Fox is talking about Davy Cooper, Willie Henderson, Willie Johnson, Billy.
Oh, listen, all day long. They're past teddy bears and all, aren't they? It's all for different areas. Sorry. So listen, they're all, it's brilliant to hear that there's so many different Rangers players over the years, Ox, that we all have got our own wee opinion who we idolised at that time. Be it we were a wee boy growing up watching the Rangers, or whatever, the name in the back of the shirt when you're a wee laddie, you wanted their number on. There's I remember an all way back, I liked to have Colin Steen's number, I liked that when I was a wee boy. And that's like my mum stitched it on with white thread, because we couldn't do a number 8 out of the masking tape. So my mum says, right, I'll sew on me white thread for you, son. That was my first thing. We had his number 8 on my back playing football. But listen, it's brilliant, isn't it, that all these Rangers legends, players, ex-players, everybody's got their own opinion to see who you think it should be on that list. And it just goes to show that how fortunate we've been in our illustrious history to even contemplate seeing these players, be it way back in the 60s, the 70s, 80s, the 90s, 2000s, and even players up to the present day, it's fabulous. So it is, Ox, the players we've seen come and go over the years, all the different eras, your grandfathers, your great-grandfathers can go way back, this is things we will teach our own grandchildren, you know what I mean? We'll teach them about the Super Alleys of the day when they were talking way back to the Tiger Jock Shaws and Alan Shearers and all that, you know what I mean? So that's the tradition Rangers have got, and that's what, as the saying goes, we're not born, we're chosen, and that's what it is, and that's the difference at Glasgow Rangers. I'm actually buzzing sitting here and now thinking about it.
I'm sure Alan Shearer never played for your club, mate.
What's that?
Alan Shearer, do you know me?
Alan Shearer, Bobby Shearer, sorry.
All right, Bobby Shearer.
Bobby Shearer, aye, that's what I mean.
That one. You get mixed
That's
up
2 nights in a row, tongue twister. Sorry, apologies again.
I'm sure you get mixed up between Alan Morton and Bobby Shearer. See what I done
Aye.
there? Yeah, but Billy's no cowboy all there.
No. My mum was putting Sod Steen on my shirt. I know he's my hero, and all, but she couldn't spell his name, so that didn't get that.
I'm glad it wasn't Mikhailichenko, mate.
Oh no, she just put my own name on. She knew how to spell that. Young Bear, she put on.
Young Bear. I get you, mate.
It's subjective. It's like naming your team and all that. Yeah, we digress. Okay, your fault, mate.
The pleasure's all mine. It's good to go down memory lane, a wee bit of nostalgia. But we go back to it's all about the here and now, and this team's got a chance to make themselves legends, modern legends and new generations. As Billy says, our fathers and our forefathers can guide us and educate us, but you know what you're watching, and you just want to see the Rangers winning again, Ox.
Aye, Mr. Fox, he'll say Dave Smith. Mr. Bridgman
there's
will
a
say
player, Dave
all
Smith.
day long. Jim Baxter, yeah.
Unbelievable, Slim Jim. I never seen him play Ox in the flesh, mate. But I just seen obviously videos, and clips him, but what a player, you know what I mean? That was, you know, what a player that was. Way back in the 60s. But not, I mean, the people that did have the privilege to see Slim Jim playing live, you know, they must have been an absolute awe of him, you know, to go and see that, watching a Rangers player like that. And I'll hear one for you. You know, when you look at the stupid money that's getting thrown about and transfer fees today, doing an English Premiership, the La Liga, you know, etc. Italy, for talking sake, how much would Jim Baxter be worth in today's transfer budget? You know what I mean? Much would that man be worth a day? Fair one for a Fox.
Well, I mean, the game's changed dramatically. And if he'd influenced the game the way he did for that period in the 60s, mate, you know, you'd be talking top dollar, you know, it'd be hard to comprehend, you know, when you consider, when you looked at, I think that boy that's played with Liverpool that came from Germany was 110 million, mate. It just shows you how mental it is all better.
It's stupid now, mate. I seen, we were talking about that today, the Liverpool fans out shouting about ticket prices now. As I say, Steve, they're no great when they spend that kind of money on these players, you know what I mean? It's madness, mate, total madness. It's ruined the game. Take it away from what we're talking about, it's just ruined the game. In my eyes, it's ruined the game. Because people talk about money, they mainly talk about the football. Because let's be honest with it, there's not much to talk about the football when you're talking about good games. There's not very many good games. The one on Sunday was a good game to watch. You know what I mean? That's a proper football game. All right, there's contributing factors, but it was a proper football game. You know what I mean? Exciting. Don't know what's going to happen. Your team wins 6-3, smashing up the road. Great, mate. Great.
Aye, but are we getting credit, Robert, for 14 goals in 3 games? You imagine if it was somebody else?
No, I don't think we are, mate. I don't think we're getting the credit. Ourselves as well in a show have asked the question many times, where's the goals going to come from? The strikers weren't scoring, midfielders they didn't seem to be contributing, wide men weren't getting the ball in good areas at times, and other times it was in good areas, but nobody was there. So all of a sudden, within a matter of 3 or 4 games, you start to get bodies in the box. We're starting to get more clinical. We're finishing. And I think that's the right time to hit it, Ox. This is a business end, as you've said for many weeks now. It's the business end, and when you've got people scoring that amount of goals across the park, then you look at the other 2 teams, they're relying on certain individuals, whereas right now we look more as a collective. So we're on the ascendancy, we're on the form, and there's goals in the team. We just need to kind of tighten up at the back again. If we score 6 and concede 3, then we'll take it all day, but you want to be clean, neat and tidy across the whole game and winning comfortably. But if that is 6-3, you take it, as long as we're scoring more than them.
Aye. The Murray game, albeit it can't come quick enough, I know, but I think actually, if we're really honest, the injured players were saying, but there's a part who's really glad as well, yeah.
Aye, it's fortunate. I mean, this is the breaks, isn't it? It's fortunate we'll get the two-week break to attempt to get these boys back up and fit and ready to play. But we paid a price for it, didn't we? We had to get the Scottish Cup to get these 2 weeks. So
Aye.
That's no good.
We'd have been happier if we played that semi-final, wouldn't we?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. So it's a plus and a minus, isn't it? It's definitely more of a minus than a plus.
Of course.
Ox, just on that, when the games that are remaining, obviously earlier on you touched with, particularly with Tavernier, always turning up for his work and things like that, always fit and ready. With 4 games on grass and 1 in Astro out of these 5 games, do you expect that when fit, Sterling starts the majority of them?
Well, I think Sterling comes back in on the Murray game and you take it from there, mate. I think that's a given for me, AK.
I totally agree. Sterling, Albert named our back line. That is our strongest back line with Romans, Giga, Fernandes and Sterling. If we can get them out in the park for at least 4 of the games, then I think that's good. for the team. It gives us a basis, foundation, solidity at the back for the midfield and the attackers to know you don't need to worry about the back door, boys, today. It's we're going forward and looking to score as many as we can to win the game.
Aye, I mean, Romans played against Aberdeen. We won 4-1. I don't think we lost 5 goals. Romans is on the pitch, and we might score more goals in a couple of the games. Maybe I'm bumming him up too much, Billy. But I just think that he looks as if he's got something about him, you know.
Yes, I spoke about Romans last night, Ox, regarding I firmly believe he's got all the attributes to be the next Rangers captain, mate. I really do. Where you touched on it, I know you says you don't know about all it. Obviously, it's a lot more responsibility, etc., etc. And the lad is obviously in the door. You know, he's hardly been in the door a full season. You know, so it's a big ask of the boy. But listen, I love his attributes on the park as well. I like what he brings to the team. He can defend. He's a proper defender. He's hard as nails. He gets up and gets down and gets up and down. He's no fear to get to the byline, you know, and he's no fear to get back to his own back line and cut out balls and fly into tackles and that. And he's got a bit of needle about him as well, Ox. I like that, and my players I know he's got a bit of needle about him, and he's no fear to point the finger as well. You know, not just at his own players. He's no fear to point the finger at other players and all. And I like that. In a player. I think we've got an absolute cracker on our hands here with Romans. Guys, I really do. Obviously, when he first came to Rangers, he was carrying that injury, and then I thought that's who would probably be. I mean, we don't know. I'm just surmising here. I'm just second guessing. You know, I thought if he played a couple of games and he had his thighs strapped up, you know, and then he's obviously broke down in training, mate, you know, which is unfortunate for him, for the boy. But if you get him fit for the last 5 games of the season, you know, and get Big Sterling in there and all, and I think that'll shore up our defence, because we look rock solid when they four are playing. Obviously, the other teams have got to create chances. We're not saying they're no. We're not got to say we're an Iron Curtain team, you know. But that's the strongest back four that we've got, and I think if we're hitting a bit of form at the right time, mate. And you know, if we're starting to score 4, 5, 6 goals in games, and we're not going to concede any, you know, if we get the right defence in place, then listen, we've nothing to fear. At Parkhead or Tynecastle or any other games that come our way.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for jumping in and coming on with the night, mate. Always appreciate it. Good to hear from you. Last word for your good self. Rob.
Aye, good wee show night, mate. Doing a wee Rangers Radio rabbit hole again tonight there, talking about the legends and who is a legend at the club. And it just, as Billy said, you hear all the names that you don't even mention at the top of your head. There's many, many greats, and maybe that's the difference. What's the difference between a great and a legend? It's up for debate. But listen, good show again as always, and a pleasure to be on with yourself, AK and Albert. And good to hear from Billy.
I wasn't fair. One of the finest football players in the modern era on the pitch. Been Stephen Davis, but Stephen Davis, but Ian Ferguson, mate. Right, AK.
Pleasure, Ox. Good show tonight. Good discussions as usual. Going down memory lane again and nostalgia. Always good to hear about the legends that spore our shirt and lifted trophies for our club. So aye, we take a wee break now, but we come back refreshed, batteries recharged, and we go again. But keep believing.
Yeah. Albert.
Aye, good to be on yourself, AK Robert, Billy. That's me. That's us off, I believe. So I'm flying out tomorrow for my 4-day break, just like the Rangers team. You've got a sun on my back before I come back.
You don't like the sun?
Oh, well, I don't know. Well, I can look at it, can't I? And the shade.
All right. Yeah, all right, mate. You go and enjoy. It's all right for summer.
Aye, definitely.
Right, listen, thanks to your good self, Albert. Good, I'm really glad that everything was sorted at your end. Yeah?
A couple of cowboys coming and sorted it.
Are you sure it wasn't a couple of Indians, mate?
Dressed as cowboys. Here we go, Brokeback Mountain again. Don't you
No,
start.
no, Albert. Right, Robert, cheers, mate. Enjoyed it.
Aye, always a good show, mate. Always good discussions on here.
All right. And AK, thanks for just taking us away from we'd done the game, we talked about it, we dissected it, you know, and we were all chuffed with the result, and a wee bit of light relief talking about who's a legend, who's not, but we could go on all night, mate, all night, yeah.
Aye, pleasure as always, Ops.
All right, and thanks to Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals, Billy for joining us, Albert, AK and Rob for doing the show. Rangers Radio will now be taking a break to a week on Thursday, but we'll be back as we build up to another match as we go towards 56. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of the week and the weekend. If anything major breaks, of course we'll have a show. We're hearing rumours that there's a debate going on about the tickets, a certain run in the split away from home. We can't guarantee our crowd safety, or the place should be shut then. Shut. Listen, thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of your week, and we'll be back with you soon as we build up to 56. Take it away, Old School Boy.